Today we're driving the 2022 Ford Expedition Platinum. This is the top trim Expedition. We recently drove the Lincoln Navigator. That was $109,000. This is only 83 grand as tested. A little bit more with a couple options, but MSRP on this is just shy of $80,000. This has the 3.5 liter EcoBoost V6, makes 400 horsepower. That's mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission. This has a selectable four-wheel drive system and electronically locking rear limited slip differential. You can select 2 high, 4-wheel drive auto, 4 high, and 4 low. We have a bunch of different drive modes: normal, slippery, sand, mud and ruts, tow haul, and sport and eco. We're probably just going to drive in normal mode today, and we'll actually turn 4-wheel drive auto on. It's a little bit rainy, it's a little bit slippery out today. Let's walk you around this new Expedition. We're going to test out Blue Cruise. We're going to walk you around this infotainment a little bit. This is the new Sync 4A system, very similar to what we have in the Mustang Mach-E. So far, on initial impressions, I haven't tested this with some of the new updates. It's very nice. We can easily switch between CarPlay and our media and radio. We have a menu down here for climate control that's always up, so we can always access it. It's a nice, clear, crisp display. It's set to night mode now, which is a little bit darker. Seems to be pretty responsive too. You'll also probably notice these flashing blue lights. These are facial recognition sensors, infrared sensors that are paying attention to where I'm looking, whether it's on the road or down here at my phone, and that's going to kind of dictate whether Blue Cruise stays enabled or not. So we'll test that out on the highway here in a little bit. First though, let's walk you around briefly and show you what this Expedition looks like from the outside. It's raining a little bit, so hopefully not a ton of water gets on the lens. We have nice big 22-inch wheels on 285/45 R22 General Grabber all-season tires. I do like the front end on this new Expedition. It looks pretty good. We have a couple tow hooks, recovery points up front. A lot of chrome accents. Pretty nice styling for this 22 model year. This is equipped with the tow package, the heavy-duty tow package. It can tow up to 9,300 pounds. Get an idea for what type of space we get behind the third row and in the third row. Not too bad. Power folding seats. We can fold those all down at once with the press of a button. Get a bunch of cargo space back here. A little more storage underneath. We got a jack, accessories. Not bad. A lot of space for people, things, and stuff. Accessing that third row is pretty easy too. You can fold down the second row completely flat. To access the third row, you just push on this, and those seats slide forward. And then it goes back to where it was before. We also have this Bang & Olufsen sound system, which we will test out. We've got CarPlay connected, and we'll use our standard sound system test playlist for that. A couple options back here for USB and charging ports. We've got a 110 volt, 150 watt plug outlet, controls for volume, media, climate controls too. You can also slide back this sunshade and reveal a panoramic sunroof, which looks pretty sharp. Nice seats. I like the tan interior on this. Pretty attractive looking interior, very spacious. Compared to the Lincoln Navigator, kind of a bargain at 83 grand. So upon first impressions, we do have a lot of physical controls and buttons in this Expedition. All the ergonomics seem pretty straightforward, pretty easy to use even with this large touch display. Everything is nicely organized in the Sync 4A system. We have controls down here for our heated and cooled seats. It's just kind of a sliding scale between heated seat and ventilated seat functions, which I think is really neat. You have an auto fan speed for your climate control, a volume knob, which is just basically a knob over the screen, but still it works. It's a physical control, which I appreciate. Turn off our audio there. And then you get buttons down here for traction control, turning on and off stop start, your hazards, and maximum windshield defrost. Down here we actually get some decent off-road controls. We have a hill descent control, that we can turn on and off. No trail turn assist in this Expedition like we do on the Timberline edition, but we do have that electronic locking rear lip differential, and then these buttons are shift buttons to upshift or downshift if we're going down a grade or what have you. Pretty nice looking reverse camera too, and 360 camera. We have some different options here for which direction we want to look. There's a hitch view, which is pretty useful. We have a fully digital gauge cluster with a bunch of different menus, different displays and views. We'll probably leave it on the driver assistance display today. This Expedition is rated for about 18 miles to the gallon combined. More controls over here. We can adjust our pedal height, which is pretty cool. Just helps in getting a more comfortable driving position. We can turn on mirror lighting, pop the tailgate, fold down the headrests, and adjust our gauge cluster illumination. Lots of control with a tilting and telescoping steering wheel too, all motor operated. 3 memory seat settings, auto up-down windows in all 4 corners, rotary shift knob. All right, let's take this on the road. So we've got a pretty nice varied drive route for you guys today. We'll take this on the highway a little bit. We'll go through a couple twisties. We'll keep it in 4-wheel drive auto. That'll give us just a little bit more traction in the wet today. On first impressions, I'm pretty impressed with the smoothness from this 10-speed automatic too. Ford's done a nice job finally kind of figuring out the tuning with this transmission. We have very close gear spacing to keep us in the power band. And pretty smooth, indiscernible shifts. All my driver inputs feel pretty good too. It's nice and light steering, light brake inputs, ride quality feels pretty comfortable and smooth too. Let's put us into, now let's go into sport mode here real quick on this entrance ramp, see what that does, and then we'll enable Blue Cruise on the highway. It drives like an Expedition. It is pretty quick with this 3.5 EcoBoost. All right, so we will re-enable our cruise control here, and Blue Cruise should pick up on our lanes and show us the hands-free icon on the left of the screen there. So all I have to do now is keep my eyes facing forward, and we should be able to just have a hands-free driving experience, which is very cool. Of course, I can adjust my speed as I so choose, my following distances. This system won't yet auto lane change on its own, but that is an update and a feature that's going to be coming in the future. So if I wanted to change lanes now, all I do is just turn my signal on, and it would let me change lanes without any intervention. And then once we're in the next lane, the system should resume within a few seconds once it's sensed the lines. It's a little bit more difficult today because we have some rain on the road. Inclement weather does seem to throw these systems off occasionally. We'll try this again on the way back. For now, we'll turn everything off, and it should resume as soon as we hit that resume button on the steering wheel. Finding this Expedition to be a pretty easy vehicle to drive. Sometimes you get behind one of these full-size SUVs and it can be a little bit intimidating. They can be a little bit large. But even on the trail, on the off-road driving experience today, we drove the Expedition Timberline, which is a pretty comprehensive off-road package. for this SUV. It has 10.6 inches of ground clearance, 32-inch all-terrain tires, the high output EcoBoost. It's an easy vehicle to place on and off-road. So, both hands on the wheel, we have resumed our cruise control, our adaptive cruise, and if it's not raining too much still, Blue Cruise should pick up on the lines. Here we go, we're hands-free. So it's going to navigate this corner. Again, there are some turns that it can't do, and it will warn you and beep and ask you to resume control, like right there. And again, the weather is probably throwing this off a little bit today. I've noticed that in dry, perfect conditions, this just works, and you can just cruise in this thing for miles without any intervention. It's pretty amazing. Blue Cruise employs the use of both cameras and radar sensors to keep us centered and hands-free with this whole system. While we're cruising here, let's test out this Bang & Olufsen sound system. See, I'm looking off the road, I'm looking over to the screen, and it's prompting me to pay attention. That's pretty clever. Exit for me. I'll have to do that myself. But it did a pretty decent job discerning between our current lane and the exit lanes back there. Let's listen to this Bang & Olufsen sound system. This B&O does sound really nice. Pretty clear, pretty clean bass. A lot of power. Turn the volume up, really crank it. Doesn't get too muddy. It's a nice sound system. Honestly, I'm kind of having some trouble justifying the extra price with the Navigator after driving this Expedition Platinum. This is a pretty comprehensive premium package for the Expedition. It's a very nice vehicle to drive. I will say Ford does have a lot of different trims and options for all of their vehicles. The Expedition, the Explorer. You can kind of pick your flavor, whether you want a more performance-oriented trim or you want a more luxurious trim. Alright guys, well those are some first impressions on the new 2022 Ford Expedition Platinum. Very cool to be able to test out Blue Cruise a little bit. It didn't work perfectly during this drive, I think just because of the rain. We took it out earlier and it was a little bit lighter. We weren't getting as much precipitation, so it was pretty seamless all throughout our drive on the highway then. But, you know, your results may vary depending on weather and any, you know, situations or conditions on the road. So something to keep in mind whenever you're using these systems, that you still do need to be ready to take over at any moment. But otherwise, we've got a pretty impressive package here with this Expedition Platinum. For the price, this offers a lot, and a lot of features, a lot of great options for the money. You can tow up to 9,300 pounds with the tow package, and as spec'd, I think this is a pretty impressive vehicle. We'll throw some more details in the description with what this is optioned out as, but I also like this interior too. We can take a quick peek at the Monroney here, but I'll include all this in the description too. So we have the 22-inch wheels, heavy-duty trailer tow package, that's $795. Second row bench seats with power folding, that's $595. And then we get the 3.73E LSD, electronic limited slip differential. The 15.5-inch screen. This is a nice infotainment. I will say Ford's done a really good job kind of reorganizing and figuring out the ergonomics of this screen. It's a good system. I like that you get a physical volume knob, and this is the same as what's in the Mach-E now. 18 mpg combined, 3.5 liter EcoBoost. Cool. All right, guys. Well, hopefully that gives you an idea of what the new Expedition is like to drive. We'll post some more videos on some other trims here coming soon, but for now, that's going to be it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.